So it's just a matter of which one you do first. So I think you've definitely got to apologize. That's number one. You always have to accept responsibility, even if it wasn't your fault. And you need to I would not just leave the room, I guess, by process of elimination. It's important to educate the family as to how this error happened, what happened, and what the potential complications or side effects could be. So I think 1's pretty clear, 5's pretty clear, 2, 3, and 4 I think all need to happen in one way, shape, or form. It's just as a matter of when. And so I guess if I'm responding in like which one's most appropriately, more urgently, you have to deal with the family first, and then down the line, certainly identify the causes of the error. And that's almost the most important thing. It's just not the most important thing in this moment. You're having dinner with several family members when your parents start asking about your siblings' marital status. They ask your siblings a series of questions. What is going on? Why haven't they been successful? And other details. Your siblings begin to look uncomfortable with the questions. So do you ask family members if they could share their own answers or challenges to the questions they are asking? It's a little passive-aggressive. Respectfully divert conversation to a new topic of discussion. Yeah, potentially. Tell your family members to back off on questioning and that is not their business. Also, potentially. Join in on the questioning to make your sibling respond. Definitely not. Acknowledge to family members that these are difficult questions and may not be the best time to discuss. I think that's probably the most appropriate response. That way you don't offend either party. I'd probably try to divert the conversation before just blatantly telling the family that this is like completely inappropriate. You are shopping at a grocery store with one of your parents when they start to behave strangely. Your parent starts to get very anxious about someone else they saw in the store. They keep saying it would be best to leave and come back at a later time. So what should you do? You should either become concerned and ask what the issue is. Potentially. They probably don't want to tell you. Tell your parent not to worry and they are just imagining things. No. Suggest to your parent that you could confront the other person. No, because you have no idea what you're confronting them about. Leave the store immediately with your parent. Potentially because your parent is very upset and that's what they want to do. Comfort your parent, but continue to shopping to complete your errand. I think it's probably important to ask what the issue is. Or if that wasn't an option, then leave the store to respect your parents' feelings, and follow up with them later. Then I guess you could comfort them alternatively. And I think 4 and 5 are like certainly inappropriate. According to your patient's blood sugar logs, he has always been within his goals. However, his other tests suggest his diabetes is poorly controlled, and you suspect he has been recording false numbers. Well, potentially the pump could be malfunctioning. So you ask the patient how he has been taking his blood sugar and documenting his numbers. Yeah. Could be some user error. Ask the patient what problems he has with managing his diabetes, if any. See what barriers he has. Request he be transferred to a different pharmacist due to his lack of compliance. Certainly not. Tell the patient you suspect some of the numbers he provided may not be accurate based off the test results collected today. I think you'd only have to do that if after you asked him how he was taking his blood sugar and what his barriers were to managing his diabetes, and after you talked through that. And then, or contact a family member or caregiver to ask about his diabetes management at home. Well, he may not be giving you consent to do that. So you should probably ask how he's been taking his blood sugar, and then also ask about the problems he has with managing his diabetes, if any, which to me I'm interpreting as his barriers to taking ownership of his health care. And not to transfer him, and not yet contact a family member. But sometimes you may just need to tell him that they are not accurate for one way, shape, or another, so that maybe he can provide additional information. Okay.
Pull the specific questions that we talked about. Okay, so like I said, for this section, the questions are going to get very repetitive. Okay. Because I'm going to ask you the same things about each one. In some cases, though, I might probe a little bit further, just if there's like certain observations I notice. Okay. Or certain things that you say. And then after we go through these 8 questions, then I'll just have some general questions about them. Typically, trying to be concise helps with the repetition. So just keep that in mind. Okay, so for this question, how did you decide how to rank each of the options? Okay, let me remind myself which one this is. Stay behind. They tell you I feel after an access to me. So I decided to rank number one because the patient is stressed out and they're reaching out to you, and so you need to kind of inquire further as to how they're feeling and why they're feeling, because eventually you're going to talk to the physician, but the patient already reached out to you. Now it's your opportunity to get more information as to why they're feeling, what they're feeling. Okay. Were there things that made your decisions easier?
In terms of ranking this? Yeah. Like in terms of the other options? Yeah, I thought I put number 5, tell a patient doctors like this with everyone, so nothing against you. It was just unprofessional. I think, the other ones I think were tough because I would still do some of the other ones. It's just a matter of which one I would do first, which is kind of the way I took the question, because I felt like you should still tell a physician what the patient said and suggest they address the patient's concerns. I feel like you should do that. Asking the nurse if the patient's been irritable recently or complaining when the team's not present. I mean, I think it's important to ask the nurse to see how the patient's been acting, to see if that's like contributing, or if there's maybe certain things that had happened like overnight or like with that physician that maybe like no one else is observing. Okay. And tell the patient you understand how they feel and share a story about how you sometimes feel like people do not listen to you as well. Yeah, I think personally some other people may be better about doing that than I am personally, but it's probably good to empathize with them and let them know that they're being heard and that you understand, and essentially kind of apologize, just kind of like what you normally do, like apologize even though it's not your fault. Ask them why they're feeling what they're feeling and try to fix it. Okay.
What experiences, if any, did this question make you think of when you answered it?
I don't know if I've ever like personally had someone or a patient do this or pull me aside like this. But it wouldn't surprise me like if this had happened with some of the physicians that like I have worked with previously. Okay. So, I'm not sure if I've rang a bell on any like personal experiences.
What if the setting of the question was different